Test. Hey, Dick Record. It's not my birthday, but thanks anyway. So today, I'm falling to the dark side, and we're going to play a deck with Ragavan in it. I've played a couple of test leagues with this video or with this deck, and I already recorded a video for the YouTube channel, so this may or may not make its way onto the YouTube channel, this particular league. But I like playing a powerful meta deck for once. So that's what I'm gonna do. Let's see. I think it's called deck Murktide Regent. Yup. I know, Joe West. I know. We're gonna throw our wallet at the modern meta, and see if money really does win you games. This will not reflect on your character, Joe West. Everything I do of my own accord, voluntarily. I claim sole responsibility. My goodness. I'm having some extra caffeine. I went for a 2-mile run on a treadmill today. Super proud of myself. I ran a mile the other day at like 6 miles an hour, which was great, but I was like dead at the end of it. And today I ran 2 miles continuously at 5 miles an hour, which was way easier, and I'm very proud. We've changed. This is so much different than the Battle of Wits Kano I first met. Honestly, I was getting really, really depressed playing Magic because like I was complaining about Ragavan and such for so long, and I have a YouTube video with this deck coming out tomorrow because it was a patron deck request. Yeah, this hand looks fine. And it kind of gets explained there, but the big deal is I was getting depressed playing my like tier 2 decks and stuff all the time and just never feeling competitive. Oh, they're also playing Murktide. This will be interesting. And because I feel like I was just like never winning. And that's not true, because, I would win occasionally, but, yeah, opponent immediately bolts Ragavan, that's fine. Draw Spirebluff Canal, play Spirebluff Canal, pass the turn. And I was feeling like I would never win. No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm just explaining, because I'm going to do some stuff with Ragavan that is not this meta deck, so, be aware. This is not, like, the thing I'm going to do all the time. But I went in and... Oh, sweet, Dragon's Rage Channeler. This card's also broken. I played the first test league I played with this deck, I 5-0'd. It wasn't even close, either. I got a little bit lucky a couple of times, but, like, I 5-0'd really fast. And I was, like, kind of happy about that, because I was like, oh, thank God, I'm not a terrible Magic player. I'm just playing with subpar cards. And it's kind of a testament to how powerful these cards really are. But, yeah, I don't know, man. So I'm going to bolt my opponent's face on the end step because I kind of want to manipulate my top deck. They could, like, Archmage's Charm and steal my Dragon's Rage Channeler here. But it kind of, like, revitalized my opinion of Magic, so, like, I wasn't so depressed. I am actually going to keep a third land here. We untap, draw Polluted Delta, play Polluted Delta, crack it, get Delirium, get an island, go to combat, attack for 3. Okay. And now I'm going to Murktide Regent, which is going to shut off Delirium and probably run into a counterspell, but... Hey, Elbow, how's it going? There's the Archmage's Charm. Alright. Okay, opponent Unholy Heats, so now they're going to play their own Murktide Regent. So I need to top deck like a Brazen Borrower here, which I have a singleton of. Expressive Iteration. Okay, cast Expressive Iteration. We will put Serum Visions into our hand, Engineered Explosives on the bottom, Consider into exile, cast Consider. I will mill Archmage's Charm, because that's not really going to help here. Ragavan may or may not be good, but this is not looking good for me. Goodness, why is that not updating on my local list here? So thank you, Dick Record, for hosting. Opponent goes to combat, hits us for 7, takes us to 6. Your punts need reset. I can, I'll probably start doing that where we just have a per stream punt counter. Because it already, the bot keeps track of the like overall punts. So it's not really necessary. But it exiled an island and got another card in hand. Then plays a Ragavan. Interesting, right? So they draw a card. We draw Ragavan. Cast Serum Vision. Draw Dragon's Rage Channeler. I would not mind a 4th land, but I'm going to bottom both of those. Play Murktide. Okay, opponent considers. No worries, I appreciate that deck record. Opponent is considering. Then casting Expressive Iteration. Putting Bauble in exile. Baubling. Okay, they attack for 9. Block there. Trade. We are dead to Bolt, and my opponent has untapped mana, and gets to play my Bauble for free. Okay. And they got the Bolt, because they always do. Alright. So in this matchup, I think I bring in Mystical Dispute. Probably Flusterstorm. Subtlety seems good. Not so sure on Jace. Not 100% on Force of Negation either, because this is going to be like a resource trading matchup. Engineered Explosives could be good if my opponent plays out multiple 1-drops. I'm going to cut 2 Considers. 1 Unholy Heat. I think a Spell Pierce, because we're bringing in Mystical Dispute. We'll try it like this. I'm not experienced at all with the mirror matchup here, so I'm probably going to lose this. Oh, I forgot. I have a thing for when I die to Lightning Bolt. I completely forgot about it. And it has its own separate counter that pops in when that happens. So, alright. Play first. Yeah. We'll be keeping this. We're going to be looking to try and probably dash Ragavan on turn 2. So we're just going to play Spirebluff Canal, hold up Lightning Bolt on Holy Heat. Opponent shocks a Steam Vents. Plays Ragavan. We Unholy Heat their Ragavan. Then we untap. Draw Scalding Tarn. So play Scalding Tarn, fetch, shock, dash Ragavan, go to combat, attack for 2. Oh, we get their Bauble this time. Play it. Bauble our opponent. This is helping them build Delirium, and they're drawing a Ragavan. Okay. Pick up ours. I know, Speed Force Punch. It's definitely not a common occurrence. Okay, opponent plays an island, passes to their second main, and plays Serum Visions. Eric, thank you for resubscribing. Yes, we are playing Blue-Red Wallet. We untap, draw our own Serum Visions. Okay. So let's expressively... I'm leaving myself open to a Spell Pierce. Want to draw Flusterstorm. We'll put Engineered Explosives back. I guess exile Consider. Play Spirebluff Canal. Consider. I will not put Brazen Borrower in the grave. I want to draw. Pass the turn. No, it's not really called Wallet. But a playset of Ragavans on Moto is literally $400, and Murktide playset's like $50 total. And then the rest of the deck is minus the mana base, like nothing. Okay, we draw Polluted Delta. So, play Snow-Covered Island. Cast a Serum Vision. Draw a Bauble. Misty Rainforest to the bottom. Counterspell to the top. Play Bauble. Bauble our opponent. I'm brewing a deck right now using Ragavan. That is not this deck. That will be very mean when it is finished. But, alright, pass the turn. Draw on our opponent's turn, we draw Counterspell. There is 1 Force of Negation in this deck, but it is sideboard. Alright, opponent passes. We untap. Draw Archmage's Charm. Play Polluted Delta. Crack it. Get an island. Go ahead and dash Ragavan. Fully expect him to die here. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Unholy Heat. Yeah, this is fine. Pass the turn. Opponent plays Spirebluff tapped. And is passing. We untap and draw Unholy Heat. I think we do try and go with the Murktide Regent here. Okay, opponent cracks Scalding Tarn. Gets a tapped Steam Vents. Plays Mystical Dispute. So let's counterspell Mystical Dispute. Okay, pass to our opponent's turn. Counterfight. Hey, Phoenix. There's more tempo than control, but kind of control-y. Okay, opponent goes for Unholy Heat. 6 damage to Murktide. Now they are going to dash a Ragavan. This is their plan. Okay, Unholy Heat Ragavan. Now they can play their own Murktide, but I mean, I'm going to bounce it with Brazen Borrower. So then they just Delver. Yeah, we're playing Tempo. And they're playing Tempo. We're playing the same deck. Okay. We untap. We draw another Lightning Bolt. So, Petty Theft our opponent's Murktide Regent. Go to combat. Hit them for 7. Take them to 7. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. And scoops. Alright. Head back. Opponent is on the play, which is a pretty serious advantage. This deck. Well, I'm not going to keep a no-lander. We're going to mulligan. Okay, sure. We'll keep this. Put back Murktide Regent. Starts Flooded Strand, fetch. Steam Vents untapped. Ragavan. So we're going to Subtlety. Exiling Counterspell. They put Ragavan on the bottom of their deck. We untap and draw Bauble. So play Bauble. Bauble our opponent. They're drawing Unholy Heat. Okay. Play Steam Vents. Play Ragavan. We really do want to draw another land. That's for sure. Drew another land. Perfect. His opponent Unholy Heats Ragavan. They kept a 1-lander. Opponent, you can't be greedier than me. Let's fetch. Steam Vents untapped. Go ahead and dash Ragavan. Go to combat. May whoever has the most marmosets win. Do you think you can play this deck without Ragavan? No, you absolutely cannot. There's nothing that can take its place and have it be anywhere near as good. Okay, opponent considers. They are looking for lands, which unfortunately we've been exiling. They bauble us. I don't mean that, by the way. I know what I said was just kind of harsh. I don't mean that to be critical of like you asking or anything like that. I just mean that there's nothing else that is on that power level that you can play instead, because Wizards of the Coast is not printing nicely power leveled cards right now. So dash in Ragavan. At our opponent. I'm doing well today, actually. I ran 2 miles this morning. I'm pretty happy about that. And yeah, it's not worth it. My advice would be to play a completely different deck if you can. Drew an Unholy Heat. That's a pretty good top deck. Pick Ragavan back up, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. So right now we are extremely in the lead because we've been able to hit our opponent multiple times with... It's not my birthday. Frickin' I already denied it once. Tarek. I'll put Ragavan in mono blue Tron just to make you angry. Untap. We draw Steam Vents. Let's go ahead and lead on Consider. Bauble into the grave. Consider. Engineered Explosives into the grave. We draw Unholy Heat. So now let's dash Ragavan. Attack our opponent for 5. Opponent's got to have a Lightning Bolt in that 6-card hand somewhere. They fetch and they shock. Bolt Ragavan. Alright. Get our opponent down to 7. Shock Steam Vents. Pass the turn. So now the problem is my opponent has 7 cards and we have basically... like, we still have the board, right? But there's a good chance that my opponent will be able to answer our Dragon's Reach Channeler and then play something. You already saw what happens when you deviate from my list. Yes. Well, we saw what happens when Kano changes deck lists. We draw a Counterspell, which is an amazing top deck. Hit our opponent for 3, take him to 4. Pass the turn. Opponent goes to Unholy Heat, Dragon's Rage Channeler, so we Counterspell. They get better? No, anytime I change deck lists, they get way worse. But Mystical Dispute in the grave. Okay, they have another Unholy Heat, which is kind of to be expected, but Expressive Iteration's a pretty good top deck. That's something that we would kind of hope we could top deck right now. Oh, opponent plays a fetch land. Well, they might be leaving themselves dead to Bolt. So I'm going to go ahead and Archmage's Charm, because we need to draw cards super bad. We got around Spell Pierce there. Alright, we're going to wait and see if our opponent fetches. And if they do, we'll Bolt them in response. Okay, they do not. Yes, at sorcery speed, that is absolutely the correct play. Because the only thing my opponent could have countered that with would have been a Force of Negation, and this is a resource trading match right now. Alright, we untap. Draw Murktide Regent. So we are going to exile a whole bunch of... Play Murktide. Opponent fetches with Flooded Strand. All according to plan. What are you going to do? Archmage's Charm me? Counterspell. Bolt you? We did it! Alright. Would you look at that? Victory. Alright, I'm going to restart the client and move on to round 2. But yeah, no, I'm feeling pretty great today. Ran 2 miles this morning, which I think is the longest I have ever run in one consecutive run without stopping. Went to the gym, did that on the treadmill, came home, took Porter for a mile walk. It was a pretty good one. So he's tired, he's resting upstairs. I got a bunch of exercise today, which is good. Had a little extra caffeine, which I don't normally do, but I feel like I'm gonna need it if I was gonna stream, and kind of wanted to stream today. I kind of want to make this my second stream day, but I don't know how open it's gonna be all the time, and I don't know if I'm always gonna be feeling up to streaming on Sunday. So I'm not committing to it, but if I feel like it, I will be streaming Sundays. Moving on to round 2, we'll play first. Being on the play with this deck is potentially really unfair. We'll call it that. Perfect. We'll be keeping this. Opponent is playing a Lurrus deck. So this is going to adjust how I play slightly. In that I'm going to be playing Ragavan out, no protection, because there's a really good chance my opponent is going to Thoughtseize me. I'm going to Bauble myself. I'm drawing Ragavan. Okay, that makes it even better. Because if my opponent is forced to Fatal Push, I got the option of playing Polluted Delta to shuffle away my top card. But if my opponent... Okay, so they are playing, looks like Hammer Time. And they got two 1-drops. Interesting. Okay. That does make things a little more difficult. So what I'm going to do is play Polluted Delta, fetch, shock, and pass. Yeah, that was pretty brutal. This is like immediate punishment. I won't doubt you, Tarek. Not in the future. And Pona plays a Plains into a Shadow Spear. Then they are passing. Okay. Draw Murktide Regent. So play Flooded Strand, fetch, get an island, pass the turn. If they spend their turn equipping to Esper Sentinel, I may actually just Archmage's Charm to take control of it. I could gain control of Shadow Spear, too. And equipping that to Ragavan would be really funny. I'm going to gain control of Esper Sentinel. Oh, I think I should have let the equipment resolve, because I think this actually fizzles the equip. Yeah, it does. That was a mistake. It's not too terrible of a mistake, but it is still a mistake. So, play Dragon's Rage Channeler. Let's go ahead and Serum Visions. Dragon's Rage Channeler into the grave. Delirium achieved. We draw Expressive Iteration, which is going to be pretty good. Bottom both of those. And pass the turn. Leave up Lightning Bolt. One plays a Pure Steel Paladin. That's probably going to have to die. I'm going to go ahead and Bolt now. Surveil. Misty. I'll put in the grave. What prompted this? Actually, a patron deck request. Somebody wanted me to play this, and I just bit the bullet and bought the Ragavans. Sort of a morbid curiosity of wanting to confirm for myself that yes, these types of decks are in fact broken. I explain the video for the first recorded league I did with this comes out tomorrow, and I kind of talk about it there. We'll leave that on top, actually, because I might need to hit a link. Can, in fact, request that if you meet the correct tier. There's two people that do monthly deck requests. One of them into my hand. We'll take Unholy Heat. We'll put Murktide on the bottom of our deck, and we'll exile Polluted Delta. Play Polluted Delta. Fetch. Shock Steam Vents. Go to combat. Attack for 3 in the air. Opponent down to 16. Play other Dragon's Rage Channeler. Pass the turn. Opponent is playing a Colossus Hammer. It looks like they're paying so that we do not... hey, Thesis Research, how's it going? We don't draw them. Not too much. They are going to suit up Knight. Okay. We're going to kill Pure Steel. This is dangerous because that Shadow Spear is going to... well, we're leaving that on top. That solves all of my problems. That Shadow Spear can give this Memnite trample. But right now it does not have trample. So we can just block it. Not too much today. Okay. Opponent passes. So we untap. Draw Engineered Explosives. Play Engineered Explosives on 0. 1 would blow up all of our creatures, so we don't really want to do that. I'm going to leave Murktide on top, I think. Okay, opponent scoops. So, Engineered Explosives in. Bring in Subtlety. And Force of Negation, I think. What do we cut now? I think we can cut a Bauble, even though Bauble's insane. Probably cut a Murktide Regent, because we're slow. And I think we cut 2 Considers and run it back like this. Okay, this hand's not crazy good, but it is good enough, I think. Okay, opponent starts Land Springleaf Drum. Espinoris, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. You're a wonderful human being, and I appreciate the support. We untap, draw a Lightning Bolt. It's not my birthday. My chat memes every time I stream saying it's my birthday. And then they claim I'm gaslighting them into telling them it's not my birthday. This happens every time I stream. But thank you for the sub regardless. Opponent plays Urza's Saga to Esper Sentinel into Stoneforge Mystic. Okay. I might have considered using Subtlety on that, but not 100% sure that's a good idea. So, go ahead and Lightning Bolt here. Opponent gets to draw because we can't prevent that. Untap, draw Counterspell. Play Fiery Islet. Play Bauble. See what our opponent is top decking. It is Pithing Needle. Okay. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. We draw Dragon's Rage Channeler. Urza's Saga takes up to 2. They play Aganjo Castle. Go to combat. They attack us for 1. This is fine. Take 1. Opponent passes. Our opponent's end step. Let's go ahead and consider. Will not put Misty into the grave. I'm going to draw Misty. Draw Unholy Heat, which is also going to be useful. Play Misty Rainforest. Fetch. Shock. Play Dragon's Rage Channeler. Pass the turn. Opponent's probably just going to make a Saga token. I'm going to bolt that before this gets out of hand. This also gives me the opportunity to surveil. It's upcoming here. Opponent is going to path. That's actually okay, I think. Path, we get to surveil. Engineered Explosives to the top. 100% we want to draw Engineered Explosive. There's a really good chance we can set it on 1 and blow up a bunch of stuff. So, opponent is going to make another token. Then they get to go search up an artifact, 0 or 1, put onto the battlefield. Shadow Spear. Then they play Pithing Needle, which is likely going to name Engineered Explosives, which is kind of unfortunate, because that would be our answer to Pithing Needle. Yeah, maybe not leaving up Counterspell would be the mistake. Now, they could name something else. No, they named Engineered Explosive. Opponent got it. They go to combat, attack us for 1. That's fine. We untap. We draw Engineered Explosives, which is now useless. Pass to our opponent. Opponent untaps and draws. plays Inkmoth Nexus. We're going to equip token, big life-linking token. Oh, I should have brought in Dress Down. I completely forgot that was a card in my sideboard. It's pretty bad. Don't have a way to get an additional card type into, so I cannot turn on Delete. I don't have 5 mana to... Okay, actually, here's an idea. We're going to play Subtlety, and we're going to block Stoneforge Mystic to kill it. Targets, that's fine. We're going to take a bunch of damage. Go to 9. Opponent plays out a Colossus Hammer just to get their construct up to 6/6. We untap, draw Spirebluff Canal. I'm going to sack Fiery Islet to draw a card. Brazen Borrower. There's a plan. So play Spirebluff Canal tapped. Go to combat. Pass. Opponent untaps. Play another Stoneforge Mystic. I kept Subtlety back because there's some opportunity that my opponent might be able to attack with Inkmoth Nexus, and I might need to block. Put another Colossus Hammer on board. Go to combat. We are going to Petty Theft the token. And now we should have enough counterspells and such to keep the board clear and pressure our opponent. So play Bauble. Bauble our opponent's top deck. Is another Colossus Hammer. Go to combat. Attack for 3. Hey Orfeo, how's it going? Pass the turn. Okay, on our opponent's upkeep. Draw Ragavan. Opponent is going to attempt to suit up with Shadow Spear. Go ahead and Unholy Heat. Solid game. I don't know what that means. You think it's a good game? Like, actually good? Or is this just, like, degeneracy versus degeneracy? Like, because I think we're more in the second camp. Opponent plays another Stoneforge Mystic, so this is getting counterspelled. We untap. Draw Consider. Dash Ragavan. Looks fun, you don't know? That's fair. I mean, like, we've made a good recovery here because things were looking a little bleak for a second. Hit our opponent with Ragavan, which gives us a Pure Steel Paladin. Nice. I'm not going to play it, though, because I can't. Opponent untaps. Play a new Urza's Saga. That is a problem for us. We need to kill our opponent as quickly as we can. Opponent animates an Inkmoth Nexus. Plays a Core Outfitter. We have to counterspell that, because we just die. We couldn't have flashed in Brazen Borrower to block either, because Colossus Hammer takes flying off of Inkmoth Nexus, which is really weirdly good against that. Otherwise, we wanted to flash Brazen Borrower to try and limit our opponent's options this turn. Take 1 Infect. Probably should actually consider this turn. We're going to cast Consider. Dragon's Rage Channeler is a flying blocker, potentially. Actually, no, it's not. I'm going to mill Dragon's Rage. Get an Expressive Iteration. Untap. Draw Serum Visions. What is my best play? They're going to be making a token next turn. There's some danger of them drawing a Core Outfitter or a Pure Steel Paladin. We have no way to deal with it. The only thing that we'd have to worry about is this Inkmoth Nexus, so I think that we just need to draw a iteration into Dash Ragavan. I think it's iteration into try and find an answer, which we did get a Lightning Bolt. Put 1 onto the bottom, so we'll put Explosives back. Exile Scalding Tarn. Play Scalding Tarn. Fetch. Shock Steam Vents, and now we can safely Dash Ragavan. Go to combat. Attack for 5. Opponent to 5. We exile a Plains. Cast Serum Visions. Firebluff Canal. Island to the bottom. I'm going to put Counterspell. Can't cast Counter. But is it useful? If we're not dead this turn, I think we win next turn. Depending on what happens. Counterspell to the bottom. Pass the turn. Pick up Ragavan. So Saga gains its second ability. If we don't have to bolt a creature this turn, we just bolt our opponent's face and kill them. Theoretically. We attack with Subtlety. If they leave Inkmoth Nexus back as a blocker, we would need like an Unholy Heat or a Bolt. Well, this is our last Lightning Bolt, so we would need an Unholy. We've only seen 1 so far. I think I took 1 out. No, I didn't take any out. Okay, opponent does not leave Inkmoth back as a blocker. So leaving the counterspell on top would have been good if and only if my opponent is like going to try and path on my turn. Sanctifier and black and red. Exile all cards that are black or graveyards. Okay. Does not do it. I think we got him. Go to combat. Here. Face. Win the match. Alright. Well then. Restart the client here. Yeah, they even had Spear. Opponent would have been super, super dead without that Pithing Needle. Because like we would have wiped their board twice over, and we just drew a third Engineered Explosives. We skipped over one with Expressive Iteration. Can't remember that card's name. 2-mana draw 2. Oh, we're 2-0 right now. It's not my birthday, Orfeo. Alright, round 3, and we're on the play. You know what? Sure, we will keep this. So, start by playing Bauble. Bauble ourself. Misty, I don't really want to draw Misty. So, I'm going to fetch, and I'm going to shock. Okay, pass the turn. This might just be a big Murktide Regent on turn 2, depending on what my opponent is playing and what we draw. Brazen Borrower. It's Tron! Okay, so we're looking for counter spells, basically. Will mill Expressive Iteration. We draw Ragavan. Does that change playing a Murktide Regent? I did draw an Archmage's Charm. I don't think it does. Fetch and shock again. Let's go ahead and Murktide Regent. It's a 5/5. That's the turn. I mean, if my opponent has a Dismember, I don't think they play Dismember, because I haven't seen any 5/0 Tron lists for a while that are playing it. And it's not even going to be a turn 3 Tron. It's going to be a much slower Tron. Okay, we draw Unholy Heat. So, play Spirebluff Canal. Dash Ragavan. Go to combat. Attack for 7. Take them to 13. Get a treasure and whatever the top card of their deck is. Exiled a Wormcoil and pass the turn. Pick up Ragavan. Now, I could have cast Expressive Iteration there, but I kind of want the Brazen Borrower unsummon if my opponent goes to play something like Oblivion Stone this turn. It could matter. You feel bad for the Tron player? Coming from somebody who's played a lot of Tron, don't feel bad for the Tron player. Oh, man. Opponent, Ancient Stirrings, a Oblivion Stone. Opponent plays a Walking Ballista on 1. They want to stop me from Ragavaning them. Unholy Heat, Walking Ballista. Don't blame me, blame Wizards of the Coast. Okay, we get shot for 1, go down to 13. Untap. A Dragon's Rage Channeler. Dash Ragavan. Go to combat. Attack for 7. Your opponent down to 6. Get another treasure token. Exiled an Urza's Mine, which is what they were looking for, unfortunately. Opponent untaps. Now, if they cast like an Ugin, or they cast, if they cast an Ugin, they would have to down tick it all the way to kill Murktide. But if they only cast one big threat here, we Archmage's Charm and win the game. The opponent casts Oblivion Stone. I'm going to counter that. And they have to have, like, I don't think they can have anything, actually. I think, like, Little Karn can't get any 1-mana thing that would bother us. They're dead to Ragavan here. Opponent passes, we untap. Draw Expressive Iteration. Now, they could have a Warping Whale kill Ragavan. That would delay us winning. They don't, so they scoop. Monkey. So we're going to bring in the Blood Moons. This is a really disgusting deck. Completely. I'm going to bring in Force of Negation and Subtlety. I got to cut 4 cards, so I'm going to cut 2 Considers. I think Engineered Explosives, I think, can stay as a 1-of. I don't know what to cut here. That's good to hear. And this isn't even the most played deck right now, either. Have fun at work, Orfeo. Thanks for stopping in. It was good to see you. Do not know what to cut in this matchup. It might be a Murktide Regent, because even though it's super good... You know what? I'm going to run 61 cards. We'll be bad at this game. Because Murktide Regent, while it is insanely good, also relatively easy, difficult for us to cast, because our opponent's going to have like Relic and stuff like that. Okay. Game 2 here. We'll be keeping this. This is not the most busted opener, but we do have a Counterspell. We got a Dragon's Rage Channeler, which is just a 1-mana threat. And we have Expressive Iteration. Opponent has mulligan to 5. That is a significant disadvantage, even for Tron. And they have not kept yet. Looks like that was a tough keep for the opponent. Lead on Blast Zone. This does not bode well for the Tron. Play Dragon's Rage Channeler. That's the turn. So they're probably going to sack Star for green. They may not. If they're desperate to draw, they'll do this even if they don't have an Ancient Stirring. So like if they don't have a second land. Okay, they do have an Ancient Stirring, so it's a good use of that mana. Do find a Tron land. They play Chromatic Sphere. We untap, we draw Counterspell. Now the game is called Hold Up Counterspell. Counter any consistency tool. Hit them for 1. And this is because we have multiple Counterspells. I don't have an OnlyFans. My god. Tarek. I put that up originally because I swore a bunch at the time that I started streaming. Only punts. I don't have a grinder either, Phoenix. Also, good to see you. How's it going? Hey, Sissia. Opponent plays an Expedition map. We'll counter that map. Mainly because I want to surveil here. Okay, that's a Warping Whale. That's fine. It buys them time, but we just need to find any threat. Put a land in the ground. Untap. Draw Serum Visions. So, Expressive Iteration. Blood Moon into our hand. Rainforest on the bottom. Exile Bauble. Bauble our opponent's top deck. Wormcoil in. We can play an island and Serum Visions. We draw Lightning Bolt. Subtlety and Ragavan. I'm going to put both of those back and pass the turn. Draw Ragavan. Hello, my name is Kano. Welcome to my only lands. That has happened more than once. Draw Subtlety. Oh, play Blood Moon. Are doing this first to shut off Blast Zone. Play a Mountain. Then play Ragavan. Why are you playing Subtlety? We know you aren't subtle. I'm playing Subtlety because my opponent is playing Big Planeswalker. I don't have an OnlyFans. Oh my god. Alright, we untap. We draw Unholy Heat. Play a Mountain. Go to combat. Attack for 2. That's what you think? Is the implication that someone has started an OnlyFans and posted my nudes on it that they have somehow generated? Oh my gosh. Opponent plays a Walking Ballista X2. So I'm going to cast a Subtlety here, just to increase the clock, mainly. Target Walking Ballista. What magic cards would he use to pose? Oh my gosh. They put Walking Ballista on the bottom of their deck. They do not want to redraw it. We untap, draw Counterspell, go to combat. Well, they also don't want me to steal it with Raga. Hellcarver Demon. And we exile Power Plant. Double Counterspell basically means so like even I think my opponent's like best play is land Wormcoil. O-Stone's getting the Counterspell. Speed Force Punch. Don't even bother coming into work tomorrow. You're fired. We untap. Draw Misty Rainforest. Play Misty Rainforest. Go to combat. Hit our opponent for 5. Oh my Phoenix, don't encourage him. Don't encourage Phoenix, Tarek. Neither of you encourage each other. Oh my gosh. Chat is out of control. And opponent scoops. We are now 3-0. We do this because you're playing gross.deck. Alright, I guess that's fair then. This has tired me, which is why that was almost more of a dumpster fire statement than it was. That's right. Oh, that's right. You were a different time zone a long time ago. I know you moved. Texas, yes. Texas now. I couldn't remember if it was from Texas to like Hawaii or Hawaii to Texas or whatever it was. But, dude, fixing a sleep schedule is not easy. That's what I thought it was. It was Hawaii. Alright. This hand is not great. But I mean, we could start Serum Visions, so... you noticed you 5-0 recently. Will you be posting? So the 5-0 was a test. I was not actually recording at the time, but it was this deck list that I was playing. I would post it if I had opponent leads on Burrenton Forge Tender. Interesting. Let's start with Bauble. Bauble our opponent. Yep, this is pure Steel Paladin deck. Play Spirebluff Canal and Serum Visions. We draw Counterspell. Island to the bottom. Dragon's Rage Channeler to the top. Pass the turn. Thank you. Opponent plays Pure Steel. This is for 1. We untap. We draw Polluted Delta. Play Polluted Delta. Fetch. And Shock. And let's go ahead and Nice, they were auto-yielded. Pass the turn. Turn off auto-yields. If I had a nickel for every time I've done that, I would be a very, very rich man. When it goes to combat, attacks us for 1, that's fine. Then they play Stone for Stick. But they tutor up. Can we get a turn off auto-yield button on your stream deck? I don't think that's necessary. Nettle Cyst. Okay, let's bolt the Mystic. This is Ragavan Murktide, the deck right now. Okay, we untap. Draw Spell Pierce. So Shock Steam Vents. Play Dragon's Rage. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Urza's Saga ticks up to 2. Goes to combat. Then passes. We untap. Draw Expressive Iteration. Attempt to iterate expressively. You know what? Lightning Bolt to the top should be fine. Let's, that is not what I was expecting. Kind of expecting to. We'll put a Murktide in our hand. Counterspell on the bottom and exile Bolt. Go ahead and Bolt Stoneforge. Oh. That explains the 5-0 that hoped it was a Tron win. Yeah. Nope. Have to play what is effective time. Cauldra? Well, I hate to say this, but you're in for some serious pain. Their opponent for 3. Okay. Saga ticking up to 3. Token. That does sound like a very fun time. I'm glad you had a good time, Sissia. Opponent hits us for 5. We go to 8. Untap. We draw Fiery Islet. Play Fiery Islet. Go to combat. Attack for 3 in the air. No blocks for the 15. So, Petty Theft, the Phyrexia token. Prevail. Bauble into the grave. And we're going to play a Murktide Regent. Something up. I cannot keep Delirium. And my hand is all instants, so I can exit. Oh, never mind. Well, whatever. Play a big old Murktide Regent. Pass the turn. Maybe I should have kept Dragon's Rage Channeler back to be able to block. I should have delved. Sigarda's Aid. Oh, that just might mean I'm dead. Sword of Fire and Ice. Yep. Means I'm dead. Okay. So, Dress Down, Force of Negation, Subtlety, Explosives in. Take out a couple of Consider. Actually, do I need... I guess Counterspell is a little bit weaker. I'm around 61 cards because I'm bad at this game. Alright, I would like to play first. This hand is almost really good. Fortunately, we have no second land for the mulligan. This isn't good. Later, Phoenix. Thanks for stopping by. It should be working. I did test it before I streamed the last time I streamed. Yeah. Minimum of 100 bits. So $1. I'm going to 5. Alright. Put back Counterspell. Put back Archmage's Charm. Lead on Dragon's Rage Channeler. I could play Engineered Explosives on 0 to get a Surveil, but not 100% convinced.
Happy birthday to you.
It's not my birthday. We're going to force Subtlety into the grave. We untap. Spirebluff Canal. Play Spirebluff. Hit our opponent for 1. And mulliganing like that was awful. Sanctifier and Vex. So we have no red cards to exile. I was thinking about cracking Fiery Islet, but get a Steam Vents. Play Steam Vents tapped. Play Engineered Explosives on. We're going to need a way to kill that Sanctifier. Bolt to the top. Pass the turn. Akadyov, how's it going? Yeah, happy 2022. I do not say that, Tarek. Surge Modular, thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate your support. Opponent plays a Nettle Cyst. We untap. Draw a Lightning Bolt. So we can kill Sanctify. Bolt the Germ token. Yeah, I know it. I know it was pro-red. Hit our opponent for 1, and we're drawing Ragavan. So Saga ticks up. Opponent makes a construct token. Then plays Shadow Spear. We untap. Draw Ragavan. Dash Ragavan. Go to combat. Hit our opponent for 3. Get a treasure token. Play our opponent's Ornithopter. Pass the turn. Pick up Ragavan. Okay, Urza Saga ticking up to its ability. Oh, I had 1 second. I turned the noise gate on because my air conditioner was running. So I shut it off. That should be going away now. It was really loud and the mic was picking it up, and that was the only thing I could do about it earlier. I totally tuned it out and forgot it was there, though. Another Saga. Ha ha, Tarek. Okay. Opponent is suiting up that construct token. Going to combat, attacking us for 7. I am going to cycle Fiery Islet. Okay. No blocks. Take 7. Go to 10. We untap. Draw Murktide Regent. Oh, man. I can delve pre-combat to have a 5/5. But that's not very useful. I think we've lost because I don't have another engineered explosives. I'm doing this so I can keep back the Dragon's Rage Channeler and maybe chump if I have to. Play out Ragavan. If we can survive this turn and then draw an engineered explosives, we might be okay. Or Dress Down actually would also do it. Okay, opponent makes another token. Plays another Saga. Okay. Then equips the Ornithopter. Goes to combat. Attacks, attacks, attacks. So chump. I have to block here and here to go to 1. I don't think there's anything my opponent could have that I want to Ragavan. I think I actually need to keep Dragon's Rage Channeler alive, because there is some chance that I draw like a Serum Visions or a Consider and need the extra Surveil. Oh, wait, what am I doing? That's a horrible block. That's way better. I don't think it matters, but this is staying alive at like 3 instead of staying alive at 1. Alright, well, I mean, dash Ragavan, go to combat. Hit our opponent for 2. Snow-covered plains, and we scoop. Opponent got us. We had to mulligan real low that second game, though, so I think we just got a bit unlucky. Restart the client, on to round 5. It is super nice to have a restart button. It is unbelievably awesome. Can you post that Stream Deck macro? I mean, it uses a super macro, and it's literally just kill process modo, or it's change view in Stream Deck, kill process modo, start modo, then it uses window resizer, moves it over to the screen that I want it on, maximizes it, puts in my password, and hits enter. Which land background was that? Oh, on the start screen for Moto, that's Progenitus. It's not a land background. It's the promo Progenitus art. On my camera. Oh, you talking this one? That's not a land. That's Jace's Sanctum. From one of the... I think it was Shadows over Innistrad. Okay, I would like to play first. Unfortunately, this hand is awful. Mulligan. Much better. Gonna keep. And I'm gonna put back... What do I put back here? I think it's... I don't want it to be Counterspell, but I think it needs to be Counterspell. Or Lightning Bolt. I have to put back Counterspell, Lightning Bolt, or Murktide. This is not an amazing Murktide hand because we don't have fetches, but I'm gonna put back Murktide. Origins. It's from Origins. Excuse me. I'm totally incorrect on that one. Lead on Spirebluff Canal. Pass the turn. Opponent leads on Arid Mesa. So let's consider Unholy Heat. We draw an island. Untap. We draw Ragavan. Play an island. Pass the turn. Opponent fetches with Arid Mesa. Gets a Steam Vents tapped. Untaps. Any reasons to run Snow Covered? None that I can think of, really. There are technically reasons to not run Snow Covered, but opponent shocks Steam Vents and goes to Spreading Seas. That doesn't really matter, but actually, no, you can have the cantrip. Okay, we untap, draw Murktide Regent, shock Steam Vents, dash Ragavan. I mean, there's also Freyalise's Radiance, I think, is a card that's modern legal. Hard Evidence? Hard Evidence? I'm playing against Polymorph? Oh, no. I'm not going to cast Hard Evidence. I'm going to leave Counterspell up. Opponent plays a Steam Vents tapped, passes. We untap. We draw Unholy Heat. Dash Ragavan. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Opponent goes to Bolt Ragavan. That's fine. Ragavan dies. Pass the turn. You got Redain played against you? Really? That sucks. Did you lose? I can't imagine it was like an auto loss, but it... Okay. Opponent gets a Dwarf token. Goes to Transmogrify. So, Counterspell. Untap. We draw Spirebluff Canal. Play Spirebluff Canal tapped. And pass the turn. I wanted to play Murktide Regent this turn, but I actually can't. Because my opponent could play like another Dwarven Mine and then just Transmog again. And that would be an issue. Opponent goes to combat. I was going to say, that sounds pretty sick. I'm glad you won. Okay, opponent fetches with Arid Mesa. Gets a second Dwarven Mine. So now if this is Indomitable Creativity, we're in huge trouble. Because they can target 2 things. Transmogrify, so Unholy Heat. But this is exactly why I didn't play Murktide Regent last turn. We untap, draw Serum Visions. So cast Serum Visions. Draw another Murktide. Lightning Bolt to the bottom, Archmage's Charm to the top. Blue, blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Play a big ol' Murktide Regent. Then pass the turn. I do like casting the shield half of Redain in third Transmogrify. Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt! No! The Spell Pierce! I mean, if it's Velomachus, we can actually block. No! It's Archon of Cruelty! Oh, no! Wow. Alright, well, they had the Spell Pierce, so I guess we just lose. Murktide's not going to do anything. So we're going to discard Murktide. We untap. We draw Archmage's Charm. A turn too late. Expressive Iteration. Okay, we get Brazen Borrower to our hand. Engineered Explosives on the bottom. And play Steam Vents tapped. Let's go ahead and Petty Theft the Archon. Pass the turn. It's a good thing we hit our Singleton off that, but like, there's a really good chance they could just do it again. Like, they're gonna Spreading Seas my red land, okay? We untap, we draw Unholy Heat. Pass the turn. Maybe he has all of his targets in hand. I can't imagine that he only has that as his primary game plan. He has to have something as a backup. Like, even if it's Prismari command, make treasures. Like this. He ditched Archon of Cruelty. So there's a distinct chance that he has Persist and is playing like Grixis. Transmogrify better than Gifts Rights. Yeah, it doesn't fold to Grave Hate. So I mean, like, there is some utility there. Flash in Brazen Borrower. We untap. We draw Steam Vents. I'm going to shock Steam Vents. I want to get around like a, I don't know, Mana Leak Mystical Dispute that my opponent's probably not playing. We'll attack them for 3. Prismari command into another treasure token. So I'm definitely going to hold up Archmage's Charm for Counterspell, because it looks like my opponent is going to try and play a land and then maybe play the other Archon of Cruelty. I think the discarding the first one was just misdirection. So play Mishra's Bauble. Let's go ahead and look at our opponent's top deck. It is a Scalding Tarn. Pass the turn. We draw a Spirebluff Canal, which is not really what we want. Okay, opponent plays Scalding Tarn, then passes. We untap. We draw a Counterspell. Okay, that makes me feel a little better. Play Spirebluff Canal, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Hard evidence. Opponent makes a crab and a clue. Hey, D-Slayer, how's it going? Still not going to cast this charm. We're just going to wait. Let's go ahead and consider. We will put the island into our grave. Consider again. I will draw Ragavan. Pass the turn. D-Slayer, thank you for resubscribing. I really appreciate the support. 8 months. Been a long time. Opponent bolts our face. Okay, we untap. We draw Dragon's Rage Channeler. So play Dragon's Rage Channeler. Silver Bordered, thank you for resubscribing. That is 13 months. A long, long time indeed. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it greatly. Stream on Sunday while I'm still asleep? Gee dang. I know, right? How's Monkey Shenanigans going today? We lost 1 round to Hammer, but we beat Hammer earlier in the league. So we're currently 3-1, and this is round 5, game 1. Okay, pass to our opponent's turn. That is a Ragavan, you see, Mr. Silver. So opponent is going to Prismari command, go looting and making another treasure. That's fine. Opponent plays a Blood Crypt tapped. I knew they had to have a backup game plan. We untap. We draw another Dragon's Rage Channeler. Go to combat. Attack our opponent for 3. Opponent bolts it. That's fine. It's another bolt that's not going to our face. Play another Dragon's Rage Channeler. Pass the turn. We're going to try and play this game patiently. What'd you make, D-Slayer? Opponent fetches a Blood Crypt off of Scalding Tarn. They untap. Play a Scalding Tarn. Crack it for a Dwarven Mine. Opponent is going to cast an Archon of Cruelty. Counterspell. Surveil. Dragon's Rage Channeler to the top. They are going to remand Archon of Cruelty. So we are going to Archmage's Charm, counter Archon of Cruelty. This way they won't draw a card. Dragon's Rage Channeler to the top. And they're going to Spell Pierce Archmage's Charm. Okay? So they do get back Archon of Cruelty. And we lose all of our counterspells. It's possible I should have just waited on that then. We untap, draw Dragon's Rage Channeler, go to combat, attack for 3. Take them to 12. Play Dragon's Rage Channeler, play Ragavan, pass the turn. Now they can play it, but Unholy Heat should be able to kill it. We'll just lose a bunch of stuff in the process. And this time they're playing it without any backup. Oh. Are they playing the full 4 set of Archon? Okay, only 3. Unless they're holding the other ones, but still, dang. Go Surveiling. Counterspell to the top. Counterspell to the top. Kill Archon. Lose 3 life. Opponent draws. We'll sack Ragavan, because this gives us a faster clock. Maybe I should have kept Ragavan and sacked a Dragon's Rage Channeler, but I think our cards are better draws at the moment. They're going to bolt a Dragon's Rage Channeler. We untap, draw Counterspell, go to combat, hit them for 3. How much longer will I be live? You got an art request? I mean, I was thinking about doing another league. I probably have time for another league, depending on what I play. I was thinking about playing some coffers, yeah. Opponent plays Archon, Counterspell, and the game is over. Opponent has no threats left. Okay. So I think we're going to be bringing in Force of Negation. I think, well, let me see if Archon of Cruelty. The only ones that exist are Reanimator lists, not Transmog lists. But I'll bring in Flusterstorm. I'm not playing eggs. Do I want Dress Down? I don't think so. I think we just want Flusterstorm and Force. So I'm going to drop 2 Considers and run it like this. I could want Blood Moon to shut off the Dwarven Mines, but I don't know what my opponent's backup game plan is going to be out of the sideboard. I could guarantee you they're going to bring something else in, though. This is very tempting. This is incredibly risky. It's true, but I think it's unlikely my opponent's actually going to cast it in the average game. I think they're going to try and transmog into it like 99% of the time. So here's a whole bunch of protection, which I think I'm just going to keep. Opponent leads on Mountain. We draw Bauble. Play Bauble. Bauble ourself. Serum Visions. I don't really want to draw. So pass the turn. Fetch. And shock. Okay. We draw Spirebluff Canal. That's fine. Opponent plays a Blood Crypt tapped. Passes turn. We draw Murktide Regent, which will be good eventually. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Mountain. We draw Brazen Borrower. Play an Island. We might just flash Brazen Borrower here. Opponent plays Mountain number 4. This is going to get a Lightning Bolt. Or an Unholy Heat. I'm not going to force for that. We draw Polluted Delta. Play Polluted Delta. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Scalding Tarn. And they pass. Fetch with Polluted Delta. Get an Island. Untap. We draw another Counterspell. Okay. Pass the turn. We should be relatively safe, I think. Opponent's turn. They play a Bloodstained Mire. And they pass. We draw Expressive Iteration. I will be casting this. What about not fetching since you need lands? I think I also need cards in the grave for the Murktide Regent. They let us have it. So we'll put Fiery Islet into our hand. Expressive Iteration to the bottom. And exile Polluted Delta. Play Polluted Delta. Fetch. Get an Island. Pass the turn. We untap. We draw a Lightning Bolt. Play Fiery Islet. I can technically play Murktide and just have double Counterspell backup with Force of Negation, so I should probably do that. Exile the Bauble. Play the Murktide. As a 4/4. Pass the turn. Opponent is passing. We untap. We draw Flooded Strand. Play Flooded Strand. Go to combat. Attack for 4 in the air. They cast a Lightning Bolt. Okay. Second Lightning Bolt. That I will Counterspell. And if they spend any more resources, if they have an Unholy Heat, if they have another Lightning Bolt, I will let that go through. Because I don't want to give up any more resources, potentially stopping a combo here. Opponent fetches with Scalding Tarn. They could go to, like, remand their own Lightning Bolt here. They still need to put the Archon in the grave. They're playing Transmogrify, not Reanimate. Okay. So Counterspell fizzles. Alright. Murktide Regent down. We have more threats we can draw. Opponent plays a Scalding Tarn. Hard Evidence makes a crab. Passes. Crack Flooded Strand. Get a Steam Vents. Untap. We draw a Ragavan. Bolt the crab. Oh, that was actually really dumb. I should not have done that. My opponent can just fetch for a Dwarven Mine. I don't know why I forgot. Well, feign incompetence. Pass the turn. Do I have enough counterspells? No, actually I don't. Opponent untaps. Plays Steam Vents tapped. Passes turn. We untap. Draw Spirebluff. Play Spirebluff. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. And is passing. We draw a Bauble. Play Bauble. Bauble their top deck. It's a remand. Pass the turn. Real riveting gameplay, I know. We draw Consider. That matters. Okay, opponent passes. We draw Consider. Pass the turn. They gotta do something sometime. Right? Right? They have 8 cards in hand. Have to consider all my options. That was bad. Low effort. Opponent cracks Bloodstained Mire. For a Dwarven Mine, sure. Transmogrify. Counterspell. Okay. Opponent is passing. Consider. I will put Ragavan into the grave. We draw Expressive Iteration. Consider. I will put Spirebluff Canal into the grave. We draw Expressive Iteration. Untap. Draw Murktide Regent. Yeah, I think it's time for another Murktide. They are holding Remand, though, actually. Let's just cast a Ragavan this turn. Consider you ashamed. Uh-huh. Pass the turn. Opponent draws up to 8 cards. Hard Evidence. They make a crab and a clue. And they pass. We untap. We draw Engineered Explosives. Play Engineered Explosives on 0. Is Remand good enough in 2022? Probably not. Giving your opponent the spell back to draw a card is not good enough, because most people don't tap out for a spell anymore. Most people play really, really powerful, cheap spells, multiple of them per turn, so it's not as much of a speed bump as you want it to be. One more land, they can play Archon? Yeah, that's fine. I've got counter spells. I have one, anyway, that can hit an Archon. If they go for a Transmogrify, we just kill the tokens. Okay, Transmogrify fizzles. Opponent passes. We untap. We draw a Bauble. Play Bauble. Look at their top deck. This won't matter because they'll fetch if I go to attack with Ragavan. So I'm going to cast Expressive Iteration, see if I can't hit a 1-mana burn spell. I will draw Archmage's Charm, put back Flooded Strand, and exile Ragavan. Go to combat. Attack for 2. If they block and trade with a token, I'll just play another Ragavan. They're going to bolt Ragavan. Okay. Cast Ragavan. Pass the turn. Opponent's turn. We draw Steam Vents. What do they have in the deck that's worth stealing? Any value spell. We hit a Hard Evidence, we hit a Lightning Bolt, it's fine. They fetch up a Dwarven Mine, sure. Get a token. They cast Transmogrify. Well, we got to fight over it. Counterspell. So probably Remand Transmogrify. They're going to Mystically Dispute our Counterspell. Storm count is 3. I'm not going to pay for that. So let's force Transmogrify, exiling Expressive Iteration. I don't want to use Archmage's Charm because I might actually have to counter an Archon if they get another black mana source. They're going to Mystically Dispute Force of Negation. We will not pay for Force of Negation. I could That could give me like a Murktide, but I think it's better to just Flusterstorm here. Because they still have a remand that we have not seen. And we know they've drawn it. So they're going to Flusterstorm. I mean, if they would just remand the Charm. Here they'll remand a Transmog, and if they run out of, if they run out of protection, then sure, we can try that, but... Okay, opponent passes. Sack Fiery Islet. Draw Dragon's Rage Channeler. Untap, draw Ragavan. Go to combat. Attack with Ragavan. Opponent does not block. We hit them for 2. We get a remand. Play Dragon's Rage Channeler. What problem does that solve? We will pay 2 life here. And I'm going to play a big Murktide, I think. Instant. Because now I have remand for their remand. Alright, they don't go through with it. Pass the turn. And now I have 6 mana, so if they remand my Archmage's Charm, I can cast Archmage's Charm. No more expensive cards on Moto. The problem is expensive cards on Moto is what makes Moto actually a thing. Like, some cards have to be expensive. Now, the way that they fix that, the way they make the economy work is by putting the expensive cards in the standard sets that people are supposed to open and not hiding niche cards that make formats, unplayable unless you have them competitively in sets that they barely release any of that cost $25 a pack even on Moto. Like Modern Horizons, Vintage Masters, that sort of thing. You should not be hiding cards like Force of Negation there. And I want you to know that they've re-released those sets for drafting 4 or 5 times now, and they're still expensive, which tells me that there's a supply problem. Bugs you when a card you own 4 of in paper costs more on Moto. Yeah, I get that. Now let's try gaining control of this. So we surveil, bolt to the top. Card pack shouldn't cost so much in paper, let alone digital. They're going to remand creativity. Okay, there's the remand. We get control of the dwarf. They definitely should not be charging full price for Modern Horizons packs on Moto, especially if they're not going to do set redemptions for them, They get another Dwarven Mine. So they are going to get an Archon and force me to discard my last card. But I think even if they do, they still die. Emrakul. Okay, I think we actually still win. Possibly. We would have to keep the Murktide back to block, and my opponent would not be able to... So attack like this. Opponent blocks the 3/3. Takes 3. We get a Dead and Gone? Oh my god! Oh, it's the wrong Emrakul. Oh, I can only target my own stuff. Brutal. Bolt their face. If that was 13 mana Emrakul, we could unsummon it. No, because it's protection from instants, and that's an instant. I should have bolted them pre my guy dying. You are correct. That was a punt. Okay. Opponent goes to combat. Attacks Annihilator 6. Block. Oh, I was supposed to sack the Ragavan, not the token. Because now I can't kill them with a bolt. Serum Visions. We draw Unholy Heat, Spell Pierce, and Dragon's Rage Channeler on top. Dragon's Rage Channeler can technically block if we draw it somehow, but otherwise we're dead. Go to combat, hit our opponent for 2. We can't. No, we had nothing to target. I could have deaded my own creature, sure, but... Okay. So, moving on to game 3. Because time is going to be a factor here, I'm actually going to go ahead and restart the client. Oh, crap. Hang on a sec. Problem is, restarting the client during sideboarding does not let you maintain your sideboard. So we want Force of Negation, Flusterstorm in, along with, I think, the Explosive still. And we'll drop a Mishra's Bauble. I don't remember what else I sideboarded out. I think it was an Unholy Heat. Subtle for Emrakul seems good. They're not casting Emrakul. They're transmogging into Emrakul. So Subtlety doesn't help here. Oh, and it was a couple of Considers, I think. Try it like that. Alright, play first. This is a really high risk, high reward hand. Yeah, we're not... The number of circumstances that have to occur for that to be good is just too many. I will be keeping this. Putting back Snow-Covered Island. And we are going to be casting Ragavan on turn 1. If my opponent leads with a bolt, we will be forcing. Okay. Untap. We draw Dragon's Rage Channeler. Go to combat. Hit our opponent for 2. Get a treasure, exile a land. Play Flooded Strand. Play Dragon's Rage Channeler. Explosives on 0. Surveil. Channeler into the grave. Pass the turn. Opponent shocks a Steam Vents. And is passing. Fetch. Get a Steam Vents tapped. Untap. We draw Archmage's Charm, which is godlike. Attack our opponent for 3. Okay. Exile an Arid Mesa. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They're going to Unholy Heat the Ragavan. Yeah, we'll try countering it. It is worth it because we can Surveil at least. They're going to Mystically Dispute. Surveil. Flooded Strand into the grave. Ragavan down. Okay. So, play Bauble. Surveil. Fiery Islet into the grave. Bauble our opponent. They're drawing Prismari Command. Okay. Dragon's Rage Channeler now out of Prismari Command range. Hit our opponent for 3. Pass the turn. They untap. We draw Steam Vents off a Bauble, which is not that great. Opponent plays Wooded Foothills. Passes. We untap. Opponent is going to make a treasure and destroy our artifact. There's nothing we can do about this. We can sack this, but opponent will still make a treasure. I really need to draw a counterspell. That is not a counterspell. Play Misty. Go to combat. Hit our opponent for 3. Yeah, I shouldn't have fought over that Unholy Heat. I should have kept the Archmage's Charm. Because I still would have had... I still would have had some board presence, so... That was just a mistake in me being greedy. Yep, there's a Transmog. And, oh, it's Archon. They went back. Or they're playing both? And crack Misty. Steam Vents tapped. Lose our creature, lose our hand. So we really need to draw Brazen Borrower. Engineered Explosives. I'll play it. Opponent attacks with Archon. We lose life, they gain life. Now we draw Ragavan. So dash Ragavan. But unless my opponent's got like a Void Snare on the top of their deck, we get bolted. Alright, sure. Well, we still 3 and 2'd. That was a very close game 3. You can probably consider that me punting away. Let's go ahead and open our treasure chest, see what we get. 125 play points. It was worth it. We still went super positive. Got all of our entry back just from the treasure chest alone.